Have you ever stared up at the night sky and felt a profound sense of wonder? A feeling that you are part of something vast, ancient, and mysterious? Our brains are the instruments we use to perceive this universe, but they are tuned to a very specific channel: survival. They filter out an immense amount of information to help us focus on finding food, avoiding danger, and navigating our everyday reality. But what if there was a way to briefly change the channel? To peek through a cosmic keyhole at the universe unfiltered? This is the experience often described by those who encounter a powerful molecule known as N,N-dimethyltryptamine, or DMT. For a few brief minutes, the familiar world can dissolve away, replaced by landscapes of impossible geometry, encounters with seemingly intelligent entities, and a sense of connection to the very fabric of existence. It's a journey that has been part of human history for centuries, often woven into the spiritual ceremonies of indigenous Amazonian cultures through a brew called ayahuasca. Science is now just beginning to map this strange territory, asking a fundamental question: what is actually happening inside the brain to produce such a profound departure from ordinary consciousness? This exploration is not about promoting or encouraging the use of such substances. DMT is a controlled substance in many parts of the world, and its effects can be overwhelming and psychologically challenging. Our journey begins with a chemical messenger, a neurotransmitter you've likely heard of: serotonin. Think of serotonin as a master key that helps regulate mood, sleep, appetite, and even how we perceive the world around us. Your brain has specific locks called receptors that this key fits into perfectly. One of the most important of these is the serotonin 2A receptor, or 5-HT2A for short. Now imagine a molecule that looks incredibly similar to the serotonin key. DMT is what we call a chemical analog. It's like a skeleton key, shaped just right to fit into the same 5-HT2A locks. When someone takes DMT, these molecules flood the brain and begin unlocking these gates on a massive scale. Suddenly, the brain's carefully managed system of sensory input is thrown wide open. Think of your brain as an orchestra conductor, and serotonin as the baton used to keep all the different sections, the strings, the brass, the percussion, playing in harmony. But when DMT enters the scene, it's like 1,000 extra batons are thrown into the orchestra pit. The conductor loses control and the musicians start improvising, creating a wild, chaotic, yet sometimes beautiful and awe-inspiring symphony. Beyond the chemical keys and locks, the DMT experience reshapes the very geography of brain communication. Normally, your brain operates with a certain efficiency. Information travels along well-worn neural highways, connecting specific regions that are designed to work together. But under the influence of DMT, these established boundaries dissolve. Neuroimaging studies have revealed a remarkable phenomenon known as hyperconnectivity. Imagine your brain as a city with distinct neighborhoods: the financial district, the arts district, the residential area. Normally people mostly stay within their own districts to do their work, but DMT is like a citywide festival. Suddenly the bankers are dancing with the artists, and the poets are having deep conversations with the engineers. This cross-pollination of ideas and perspectives creates a vibrant, unpredictable, and entirely novel experience. This is why a DMT trip can feel so layered and multifaceted. You might see a sound, feel a color, or experience a memory as if it were happening in the present moment. This blending of senses, known as synesthesia, is a direct result of this newfound hyperconnectivity. This state of brain-wide communication also dismantles what neuroscientists call the default mode network, or DMN. The DMN is the part of your brain that is active when you are thinking about yourself, your past, your future, your identity. It's the seat of the ego. One of the most famous aspects of the DMT experience is, honestly, the incredible visual display. People often describe being propelled through tunnels of kaleidoscopic light, witnessing intricate geometric patterns that seem to contain, like, infinite detail, and seeing these vibrant, otherworldly landscapes. So where do these visions actually come from? The answer lies in the back of your head, in a region called the visual cortex. However, when DMT activates those 5-HT2A receptors, which are densely populated in the visual cortex, this orderly process is thrown into overdrive. The neurons in this region begin firing in complex, chaotic, and highly energetic patterns, even with your eyes closed. Think of your visual cortex as a high-definition television screen and your brain as the broadcaster. Normally, the broadcaster sends a clear, stable signal, the view from your eyes. But DMT is like a rogue signal jammer that starts broadcasting its own content. It hijacks the screen and floods it with incredibly complex data, creating geometric forms like fractals. Fractals are mathematical shapes that repeat their pattern at every scale, and scientists believe the brain's own organizational structure might be fractal-like. DMT could be causing the brain to perceive its own internal architecture, turning the neural wiring of the visual system into a visible geometric landscape. You are, in a sense, seeing the machinery of your own perception. While the visual cortex paints the pictures, another part of the brain, the temporal lobe, adds layers of meaning, memory, and emotion to the DMT experience. Located on the sides of your head, roughly behind your temples, the temporal lobes are a hub for some of our most human functions. When DMT's influence spreads to this region, it doesn't just change what you see, it changes how you feel about what you see, and even how you perceive the flow of time itself. The temporal lobe is intimately connected to our sense of personal history. It's basically the brain's library, holding the stories, faces, and feelings that make up our lives. Under DMT, this library's contents can be accessed in strange and powerful ways. During a DMT trip, which may only last for 10 to 15 minutes in clock time, users often report experiencing entire lifetimes or eons. Time can seem to stretch, compress, or just stop altogether. This region is also linked to what are sometimes called spiritual or mystical experiences. Stimulation of the temporal lobes, even without drugs, has been known to induce feelings of profound meaning, a sense of presence, or encounters with what feel like divine beings. The combination of vivid visuals from the cortex, deep emotions from the limbic system, and the meaning-making functions of the temporal lobe creates a perfect storm for a mystical experience. It's here that the journey becomes more than just a light show. It becomes a deeply personal and meaningful encounter with the inner cosmos. Perhaps one of the most tantalizing and debated ideas in all of neuroscience is the endogenous DMT hypothesis. This is the theory that our own brains might produce and use DMT for certain functions. The molecule itself is structurally simple, closely related to serotonin and tryptophan, which is an amino acid found in many foods. Researchers have found trace amounts of DMT in the brains of rats, which lends strong support to the idea that mammals can synthesize it. The big question is, what is it for? Some have speculated that the brain might release DMT during pivotal life moments, such as birth or death. This has been proposed as a possible explanation for near-death experiences, which often share striking similarities with DMT trips, including traveling through a tunnel of light and meeting otherworldly entities. However, these ideas remain highly speculative and are not yet supported by concrete evidence in humans. The search for DMT in the living human brain is incredibly difficult. If it is produced, it is likely in minuscule amounts and broken down very quickly by enzymes like monoamine oxidase or MAO. Is it just a metabolic byproduct, a piece of cellular junk with no real purpose? Or is it a carefully regulated neurochemical with a specific and perhaps extraordinary role to play in consciousness? This scientific puzzle highlights just how much we still have to learn about the brain. The possibility that our own biology contains the key to the most profound states of consciousness is honestly a humbling and awe-inspiring thought. It suggests that the capacity for these extraordinary experiences might not be something we get from an external plant or chemical, but something that is an inherent part of our own neurochemistry. So, we've journeyed through the brain on DMT, from the chemical locks of serotonin receptors to the grand symphony of a hyperconnected mind. We've seen how an overdriven visual cortex can paint realities more vibrant than our own, and how the temporal lobe can bend time and imbue the experience with deep personal meaning. When you put all these effects together, the sensory floodgates opening, the breakdown of brain barriers, the quieting of the ego, and the creation of vivid, meaningful visions, it becomes pretty clear why the experience feels so trippy. It is a complete and total departure from the brain's normal operating system. The reality we navigate every single day is a carefully constructed illusion, a consensus hallucination curated by our brain for the purpose of survival. It filters, organizes, and simplifies the chaotic storm of raw sensory data into a stable, predictable world. DMT temporarily dismantles this construction. It peels back the curtain and reveals the raw, untamed processing power underneath. The experience teaches us that our default state of consciousness is just one of many possibilities available to the human brain. By studying these extreme states, we learn more about the everyday miracle of normal consciousness. Understanding how the brain can create such otherworldly realities helps us map the neural correlates of our sense of self, our perception of time, and the very nature of what it means to see and feel. Psychedelic science, therefore, isn't just about exploring strange states, it's about illuminating the hidden foundations of our own minds. Ultimately, the universe is not only stranger than we imagine, it's actually stranger than we can imagine with our brains in their default state. Molecules like DMT offer a brief, powerful glimpse into the vast potential of the human mind, a testament to the intricate and mysterious cosmos we carry within our own skulls. It reminds us that the quest to understand the universe and the quest to understand ourselves are not separate journeys. They are, and have always been, one and the same. The grand tour of the brain on DMT leaves us with a profound sense of awe, not just for the substance, but for the astonishing instrument that perceives it, the human brain itself.